Millions of people around the world believe in the paranormal phenomena, and there are countless stories of haunted places where strange and unexplained things happen. Today, we're going to take a look at the most haunted places in the world, including places in the UK, America, and Australia. These are places where people have reported seeing ghosts, hearing strange noises, and experiencing other unexplained phenomena. If you're brave enough, then join us on this journey to the darkest corners of the world. But be warned, once you start watching, you may never be able to sleep at night again. The LaLaurie Mansion, New Orleans, Louisiana. This mansion was once the home of Madame Delphine LaLaurie, a wealthy socialite who tortured and killed her slaves in the attic. After a fire broke out in 1834, the horrific crimes were exposed and the mansion was looted by an angry mob. Since then, the mansion has been haunted by the ghosts of the slaves who are said to scream, moan, and whisper in the dark. Some visitors have also reported seeing the ghost of Madame LaLaurie herself roaming the halls with a whip in her hand. The Shanghai Tunnels, Portland, Oregon. These tunnels were used in the late 19th and early 20th centuries to transport goods from the ships docked at the waterfront to the basements of bars, hotels, and brothels. They were also used for a sinister practice known as shanghaiing, which involved kidnapping unsuspecting men and women and selling them as slaves or prostitutes. Many of these victims died in the tunnels, and their spirits are said to haunt them to this day. Some of the paranormal phenomena reported in the tunnels include cold spots, disembodied voices, shadowy figures, and physical attacks. The Island of Dolls, Mexico. This island near Mexico City is full of creepy dolls hanging from trees and buildings. The island's caretaker, Don Julian Santana Barrera, collected and displayed these dolls as a tribute to a young girl who drowned in the nearby canal. He believed that the dolls would appease her spirit and protect him from evil. However, he also claimed that the dolls were possessed by other spirits and that they would move their heads, eyes, and limbs. In 2001, Don Julian was found dead in the same spot where he had found the girl's body. Since then, people have reported hearing whispers, giggles, and cries coming from the dolls. Another haunted house in the USA is the Monte Cristo Homestead in Junee, New South Wales. This house was built in 1885 by Christopher William Crawley, a wealthy businessman who had a dark and violent history. The house witnessed 11 deaths, including members of the Crawley family and their servants. Some of the deaths were caused by murder, suicide, fire, and accidents. The house is said to be haunted by the spirits of the Crawleys and their victims, who have been seen and heard by visitors and caretakers. Some of the paranormal phenomena include apparitions, voices, footsteps, poltergeist activity, and physical attacks. The house is now a museum and a bed and breakfast for those who dare to spend the night. Next, we're going to cross the Atlantic Ocean and visit the UK, where there are also many haunted houses with centuries of history and mystery. One of them is Pendle Hill in Lancashire, England. This hill is not a house per se, but it was the site of one of the most infamous witch trials in history. In 1612, 10 people known as the Pendle Witches were accused of witchcraft and executed near the hill. The hill is said to be haunted by the ghosts of the witches and their victims, who have been seen and heard by locals and visitors. Some people have also reported feeling a strange energy or presence on the hill, as well as experiencing nightmares, visions, and physical sensations. Another haunted house in the UK is Studley Park House in Camden, New South Wales. This house was built in 1889 as a grand residence for William Payne, a wealthy landowner and politician. The house later became a grammar school and then a college. The house is said to be haunted by several ghosts, including a boy who drowned in a nearby dam while swimming with his classmates in 1909. His body was stored in the basement of the house until his funeral. His ghost has been seen wandering around the house and grounds, as well as making noises and moving objects. Other ghosts include a woman who died of tuberculosis in one of the rooms, a man who hanged himself in the tower, and a girl who fell from a balcony. Welcome to the London Underground, the oldest and one of the busiest metro systems in the world. It is also one of the most haunted places in the city, with many stories of ghosts, spirits, and paranormal phenomena. The first station we're going to visit is Bank, which is built on the site of 2 former churches and their graveyards, where thousands of people were buried during the plague and other epidemics. One of the most famous ghosts that haunt this station is Sarah Whitehead, also known as the Black Nun. She was the sister of a bank clerk who was executed for forgery in 1811. She went mad with grief and kept visiting the Bank of England, asking for her brother. She died in 1845, but her ghost still wanders around the station, dressed in black and looking for her brother. The next station we're going to visit is Covent Garden, which is haunted by the ghost of William Terriss, a popular actor who was stabbed to death by a jealous rival outside the Delphine Theatre in 1897. He used to frequent a bakery that stood on the site of the station, and his ghost is said to appear there wearing a hat and a cloak. Some tube workers have been so scared by his presence that they requested to be transferred to another station, the Tower of London, England. This historic fortress has witnessed many bloody events in its history, such as executions, murders, tortures, and imprisonments. Some of the most famous ghosts that haunt the tower include Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry III, who was beheaded there, Lady Jane Grey, the 9-day queen, who was also executed there, and the princes in the tower, who were allegedly murdered by their uncle Richard III. Visitors and staff have reported seeing their apparitions, as well as hearing screams, footsteps, and chains rattling in the tower. Finally, we're going to travel to Australia, where there are also some spooky and haunted houses that will give you goosebumps. One of them is Franklin House in Tasmania. This house was built in 1838 by Britton Jones, a former convict who became a successful businessman and politician. The house later became a school and then a museum. The house is said to be haunted by several ghosts, including Major Frederick Ingoldsby, who lived and died in the house in 1896. His ghost has been seen walking around the house every September. Other ghosts include children who died or suffered abuse at the school, servants who worked at the house, and Jones himself. Another haunted house in Australia is Emmett Cottage in Picton, New South Wales. This cottage is part of Picton's historic town centre, which is known as one of the most haunted places in Australia. The cottage has been vacant for many years and has been vandalised and damaged by fire. The cottage is said to be haunted by a ghostly face that appears in one of the windows. The face belongs to Thomas Emmett, who lived in the cottage with his wife and children in the 1800s. He was a violent and abusive man who killed his wife and then himself. His ghost has been seen and heard by passers-by and shopkeepers, who have also reported finding their goods and displays moved or tampered with. These are just some of the most haunted places in the world that you can visit if you dare. But be warned, you might not come back alive or sane from these places. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to comment below which place you would like to visit or which place you think is the most haunted. Thank you for watching.